Okay. All right, it is 9 a.m. I'll call the October 21st meeting of the Board of Supervisors to order. First item, approved agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. We have a motion by Supervisor Jorgensen, seconded by Keeper to approve the agenda as presented. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Item 2, public comment. Anyone listening on the phone line make a public comment, like to make one? Hearing none. Item 3, review and action regarding approval of the October 14th, 2024 minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the October 14, 2024 minutes.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Supervisor Kiefer, is seconded by Jorgensen to approve the minutes of the Board of Supervisors meeting on October 14th. Further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Item 4, review and action regarding approval of claims.
I'll make a motion to approve the claims as presented.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Supervisor Jorgensen, seconded by Kiefer to the claim. Those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carried. Item 5, drainage ditch number 3, main open ditch repair project. A, review the action regarding change order 2, change in contract price, a decrease of $45,249.20.
Tyler, are you on the phone? Or-
I am. Good morning.
Good morning, Tyler.
Good morning. I can give
Yeah.
a quick rundown on those documents in front of you.
Please do, thank you.
As we close in on the completion of the Floyd 3 main open ditch repair project, I anticipate this being the not the semifinal, but the third to last pay application from the contractor. So as such, we're starting to refine the actual quantities used with the planned quantities. As you see on that change order, there was quite a few more anticipated tile extensions to be constructed into the ditch. That was based off of similar sized and length projects. As the project went, when we actually got out there, got the side slopes back, looked and confirmed how many of those were going to need to be done and how many actually did get done, there was quite a bit of savings towards the district, a little over $45,000 worth of tile extensions that were found not needed to be done. So as a result, there's the change order number 2, which is rectifying that segment of quantities, as well as a pay application for a little over $82,000, which is for the last month's completed work on the project. As I had said, I anticipate there being one more semifinal pay application for all the items completed except for the retainage, and then the final pay application being the 10% retainage after the completion hearing, which we are working on the documents for that hearing as well. So everything's going well, closing up that project, hopefully be done and have everything buttoned up here, certainly by the end of the year.
Any comments or questions for Tyler?
I have a question. The seeding, due to the dry conditions, do you feel that that's gonna have to be reseeded if it doesn't take, or what are your thoughts that way? Seeding versus
Seeding these is always it's so weather dependent, and it can be. I've never seen one not take, but I have seen them take additional time. There is the potential for some instances of reseeding. We're going to want to make sure that is reviewed and that if landowners are having concerns with how that's coming up, that we evaluate putting some reseedings or a little bit more work there into those seedings. But the way that it was applied on this project, they did supply it with moisture when it went down. They essentially aerial applied with a boom sprayer hanging over the side with the seed fertilizer and some water mixture. And so that I am hopeful will give it a better start than when contractors hand apply seed. Um, that being said, if I could make a living off of telling the future on whether or not grass seed was going to come up, um, I'd be doing that. But everybody knows that when you put grass seed down, it can be a laborious venture to get it to grow, but I've never seen a ditch not take with time.
Okay.
So
Um,
that's a long-winded answer of saying that I'm hopeful it takes, but I wouldn't be surprised if some additional work was needed.
And that was my next question, the additional work, is that covered in this total cost, or are we at risk?
There's the potential for having the contractor come back for some spot reseedings based on the maintenance bond. I wouldn't think that excessive reseeding we could hold the contractor to. Um, I've the dozen or so ditches that I've seen completed this late, we've had been very diligent about saying let's come back and see how this is establishing in the spring and reevaluate at that time. Um, that being said, a substantial reseeding, I think, would be difficult to hold the contractor to because the maintenance bond holds contractors for work that's found to be a failing of their workmanship or a negligence, whereas it's tough to, we can't hold the contractor accountable for weather patterns.
Understand?
And Tyler but as far as any type of work, isn't there a 1 year?
Yes, for calling the contractors back for, um, it's the maintenance bond that they have. So they can be called back for, like I said, for, um, spot seedings or, um, repair work based on how the conditions hold up. I think it would be hard to, my point is I think it would be hard to call them back for a complete reseeding of that open ditch.
And Tyler, when do we pay retainage?
The retainage is 30 days after the acceptance of the work. The acceptance of the work is typically done at the close of the completion hearing. I will, within the next couple of weeks, file completion documents. That includes damages and the completion report. That goes out then in notifications to the affected landowners, those that were along the facility. And then there's a waiting period. I believe it's 20 days notice period before the completion hearing can be held. That completion hearing is held. That gives landowners that were along the ditch a chance to comment on the damages as they're filed, submit additional claims if they have them, and set out anything that the contractor would need to do in finalizing that work as the landowners see fit. And then the if there is nothing, then there's the acceptance of the work.
And then at that, I'm only saying this because John Zimmerman called last meeting. And then we would, once we have that closing, and with the works completed, the notice happens, that part of it, then we would pay that retainage. And then the supervisors could do an assessment. Is that correct timeline?
Yes, that sounds very fair and proper to procedures.
Any further questions for Tyler?
Have none.
No, I don't have any.
We're on item 5A, review action regarding the change order number 2. Change in contract price decreasing by $45,249.20. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion to approve the change order number 2, change in contract price decrease of $45,249.20.
I'll second.
Regarding the drainage district 3, sorry.
I'll second that.
Been moved by Supervisor Jorgensen, seconded by Kiefer to approve change order number 2. Change in contract price decrease $45,249.20. There is further discussion. Any comments from anyone listening on the telephone line? Hearing that, those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. We're now on item 5B, review action regarding pay app 11 for $82,364.76. Tyler discussed that with us as well. Do you have any further questions?
I don't. I'll make a motion to approve, pay app number 11 for $82,364.76 regarding drainage district 3 main open ditch repair project.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Supervisor Jorgensen, seconded by Kiefer to approve pay app 11 for $82,364.76. Anyone listening on the phone line would like to make a comment? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Moving on to item 6, which is review action regarding hiring outside legal counsel for a review of the ruling in the district court case Worthwhile Wind LLC versus Worth County Board of Supervisors, and how the ruling may impact Floyd County if the Board of Supervisors approves the current proposed wind ordinance amendment set for consideration at the October 29th board meeting. Supervisor Jorgensen, you requested that this be on our agenda. I yield the floor to you.
Thank you. I think it's, would be good to reach out. Find, some attorneys that are willing to, discuss this with us. In our previous meeting, I think there was a mention of, Supervisor Kiefer had, reached out, possibly, I would, recommend that our board will allow this to happen and see what we can find for, representation, find out the cost, just have conversations with one or more to see what type of representation we want to go forward with if we do.
We place this item on the agenda as a review and action, knowing that, the third reading of the ordinance is going to take place on October 29th. And today is October 21st. And so your intent to have this done prior to the third reading of the ordinance?
Well, I guess that would be ideal.
In that case, we need to, one, pick an attorney or attorneys. Since it's your motion, I'm gonna leave it up to you to just but we need to talk about the scope of services that we're requesting of that outside counsel. And we need to have an engagement letter with that firm, scope services cost, that sort of thing, and so how do you want to proceed? We have to hire someone first, and then they have to do the research, and then we have to get it back to us before the 29th. So, you said Supervisor Kiefer had some ideas on who he might want to engage, is that correct?
Yes, I, reached out to the Whitfield Eddy Law Firm in Des Moines, talked to a Thomas Rivoli, and he said he would be willing to take a look at it.
What was the name?
Last name is, the attorney's last name is Reavely, Thomas, first name,
Okay.
Whitfield Eddy Law.
Did you discuss with this attorney the times of the essence before the third and possible final read of the ordinance? And did he have time to do this after he's hired and get back to us prior to that time?
We talked very briefly. I told him we'd have, if he agreed and then the board agreed, we'd provide him with the information and as soon as we could, for him to review it. And he didn't make any promises, and that specific item, is the date wasn't mentioned, but it was described as urgent, you know, or short time frame, so.
Was there any engagement letter that he offered?
Excuse
Any
me,
engagement letter that he offered?
we did talk about that. I told him this would be board action, and then after we made a decision, if it went in their favor, we'd be in touch with them.
Did he talk a fee?
I'm sorry,
Did he talk a fee?
no, we didn't talk to anybody, anything about that at all. Just, it was very general. I just inquired if he had the time and would be interested in helping us, and he said he would. So this other stuff that we need will have to come if we approve it.
I would propose, to allow Dennis to go through that conversation and, report back to the board, possibly with a special meeting between now and October 29th.
Well, it would require approval of the board, other reimbursement, what we're gonna charge, what they're gonna charge us, what's the scope of services, what is it, just a review of the case, worthwhile win versus Worth County Board of Supervisors, we need all those things, so, you want this done by October 29th? That's the third reason.
That would be ideal. Perhaps Dennis could reach out sometime later today to this gentleman and, have that information provided. We could, call a special meeting between now and October 29th to, have a review and action of that purpose.
So we need to hire the attorney firm and he needs to review it before October 20th. That's pretty close, so, and what, maybe in future agenda items, you'll discuss when you'd like to have that meeting to hire someone. Are you thinking yet this week, because we only have one more board meeting before the 29th, and that's on the 28th, and so pretty hard to hire somebody and then tell them to go do the work and present it by the 29th.
Well, it was my hope that, Dennis had, someone in mind as he spoke of, we could, have Dennis reach out to him, gather the information. Determine if it's something to go forward with at our special meeting between now and our next regular meeting.
Okay.
So maybe as early as, I don't know if it'd be Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or, you know.
When I, if this goes forward, or call them and explain to him the importance of timing. And, we have to be able to get to him the ruling on the worthwhile case, so he can look at it and some background on, in our situation in Floyd County, which I'm willing to do. So I can't speak for him, but, he may say, no, I don't have enough time, and if that's the case, that's the case, so. But, he wanted an opportunity to look at it, or said he would anyway, so.
We can, call for a special meeting. It's gonna be hard for me on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I can meet after 4 o'clock on any of those days. Of course, we have 24 hour meeting notice, and you don't have a confirmation from the attorney yet. So why don't you proceed with that? There's really no action today.
We'll just,
You're still looking into it, and you see and bring back the information that, if he's available to even do it. And, just one question, what, expertise does this law firm have in regards, why did you choose them?
Well, this particular attorney was, suggested by another county supervisor, and, one of his specialties is wind. So, and I'll find out more, so.
And of course, this is an unbiased opinion, or does this, attorney already represent someone in this field?
I don't know if he is now or not, I couldn't answer that. So, probably as unbiased as anybody would be.
Scope of services, what is it you're asking for them to do exactly?
What is, to determine if there's any similarities between worthwhile wind and what Floyd County is facing.
I would agree. I mean, there is a possibility the board might determine that we need representation going forward. I would anticipate that that would be requested of him for his scope of services as well.
So, where we're gonna leave it today, Dennis, you're going to, call, what's the gentleman's name again, and what law firm?
It's Whitfield Eddy Law. Gentleman's name is Thomas S. Reavely, Reavely, I believe it's pronounced.
And you're going to ask him for details.
First ask him if he wants to be in, explain what needs to be done and the timing. If he's willing to do an engagement letter, what his fees will be. And if he thinks it can be done timely before the 29th of October, a review of that case.
Okay, and so if you find that to be the case, we will call a special meeting to consider the hiring of this attorney.
That would be my suggestion, yes.
Sometime this week, if you can find out.
Correct, after.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
It has to be later than that, because I have co-worker training on Wednesday. I mean, tomorrow would be the Wednesday, so I have to, but I have co-worker training in here that won't be done until the 35 o'clock. This room will be full of equipment, and then we have it on Thursday also. And then we have, the setup for the public test, which is 9 o'clock on Friday. So, 4 o'clock tomorrow, or 4 o'clock, actually, after 4:30 would even be better, because voting is going on until 4:30, so when my staff and I are down here setting stuff up, it leaves them short staffed up in the office.
I have a 23rd, if they do it, would have to be later in the afternoon. I have appointments in Rochester. in the early afternoon. So maybe Thursday would be better.
Tomorrow
What was that, Louise?
tomorrow or Thursday after 4:30 would.
Yeah, that would work for me too, yeah. Wednesday is probably wouldn't work very good for me.
Of course, we're talking about tomorrow, 24-hour notice.
You have to make a call right away.
I mean, that's very short, but we normally, I don't ever recall having a meeting the very next day after we called for it, although we could do it as long as it's, we have to meet that 24-hour requirement that it's meeting also.
Well, I've got to get some information too, so.
That would give them more time to.
Okay, one final question. Do you remember the name of the supervisor who told you about this attorney?
Yes,
Who was it?
it was Heather Stancy, I think was her name. Her first name was Heather Stancy, the last name,
And what county is she a supervisor?
Madison County,
Huh?
Madison.
Oh, Madison. Thank you. Anything further on this issue?
I have nothing.
All right, we'll wait to hear from Supervisor Kiefer if we're gonna have a special meeting or not this week. Moving to item number 7, review and action regarding bids for nuisance ordinance violation to clean up Dwayne Tesh's property at 1539 Rock Grove Lane in North Spring. In your packet, we had 3 bids, I believe. For the cleanup of that, Auditor Carr, will you review those bids for us, please?
I think I'll leave it up to Justin,
Oh.
or are you?
Well, I didn't bring the bids with me. I can certainly speak on the property, but I didn't bring the bids with me.
Okay, I can go through the bids if you want him to
Please do.
speak anything on
Yeah.
the issue. So you have in your packet 3 bids. Lowest being Cam Excavating for $4,600, highest being Cold Excavating for $28,500. And in the middle there, we have Zimmerman Digging for $11,500. Zimmerman's did the project last year. And, but your low bid is Cam Excavating.
All right, Jesse, do you have any comments regarding that or recommendation for?
So my coworker Jen Solomon and I have driven by the property several times and, he was, through the assistance of the county attorney's office, Todd Pritchard, filed a charge of the nuisance ordinance against him. And he was given 30 days notice to clean up the property. The property has lots of various miscellaneous, I guess I would call it junk or garbage, rubbish. It is all over the property. And it is my recommendation that you approve Doug Cam to go ahead and take the lowest bid and clean up the property. He will clean up all the garbage and junk like I mentioned is there. And it's kind of an unfortunate situation since we were already there once before, but after, we'll assess it to the property taxes and we'll just kind of move forward from there. Is there any questions?
I have a question. One man's junk is another man's treasure, but how do you draw the line? What is junk? What is it? Basically just the foundation and structures that will be left or?
Yeah, so it's not the intent to take the buildings down, although I could make a case, to be quite honest with you, that they are a nuisance. And you bring up a very good point, the trash versus treasure comment. I don't know that I could ever really definitively answer that, but I think if you drove by, you would say that it is a nuisance to his neighbors. It is in a medium density neighborhood, considering the rural nature of the area. There are several homes in the vicinity, and it is an eyesore. And I do think that it would bring down property values. So like, if you were to sell your home in that area, I do believe that it would affect the ability to sell the property. And so that's the defining situation that I would look at as far as whether it's a nuisance or not. I mean, if you're devaluing your neighbor's properties, I think that is the defining cutoff there. Plus it's an environmental hazard. I mean, he's got, junk cars, LP tanks, rodents are running around. There's reports of, rats, woodchucks, lots of other various animals, so I think it meets the determination of a nuisance, and so did the court. Photos were taken, and, Todd Pritchard, presented, photos to the judge. I think it's a pretty clear-cut case, in my opinion.
I just curious, what could we expect it to look like when it was finished?
Well, I mean, it'll be better. I mean, the buildings are still, I actually think, we'll have to look at our ordinance, but if our ordinance doesn't declare, if the ordinances wouldn't determine those buildings would be a nuisance, we actually should look at that someday. Because if you drive by there, half the time the door is open, the windows are knocked out. The roof is very likely leaky. The garage door, I believe, is wide open. And out in the middle of nowhere, when I say that, if you're just on a rural, 1 mile section on a gravel road, just kind of like where there's only maybe one house. Certainly, I wouldn't worry about a structure like that, but given the nature that it's in a medium density residential neighborhood, that's the factors that I would consider. I hope that answers your question.
I just wondered what we would expect it to look like when it was finished.
Well, the junk will be cleaned up.
Okay.
Jesse,
Yes.
Doug's estimate is pretty detailed, the others aren't so much, but you're not asking them to demolish the house, right?
That is correct. The house will still be there,
Okay.
although it probably is a nuisance, but the house is not slated to be demolished.
Thank you.
This is Jen. I'm upstairs in my office.
Hello, who's this?
It's Jen Solomon.
Yes, how do you?
No, the house will not be demolished, but it should be because there's no windows in it. But there's a lot, there's a toilet on one of the roofs. There's a big swimming pool that he thinks he's gonna put water in it, but it leaks. There's pallets, and he says he burns them. He hasn't used that burner out there for years, so he's got tons of pallets. He's got a lot of branches and stuff like that by 2 propane tanks that need to go. There's a lot of stuff out there that really needs to go, and anything that's to the ground, we do not take. So if it's on the ground and it's stuck in the ground, we cannot take, but anything else that is not, like pallets and shrubbery or whatever, branches, that toilet that's on the roof is just sitting on the roof, so that can be taken down. There's like I said, the pool again, so that's, if you haven't been out there, you probably need to go out there and drive out there to look at it. And it looks like he's doing a berm in the front of his front yard, so he pushed everything to the back. So if you guys haven't seen it, my suggestion is to go out there and look at it.
Any further comments or questions?
No.
This is Brandy Schmidt, the assessor.
Yes, you're recognized.
I just wanted to state a little bit about the property values. I do have some concerns with that area. When Dwayne had the last nuisance, there was a sale that was significantly lower than market. And we actually, we actually lowered the value, and then the landowners surrounding, all of them appealed to the board review and had further reductions. However, there was a house that sold in that neighborhood very recently that sold well over what I would have even anticipated for market, even without the, what we had before the board review made adjustments. So I am going to probably remove those adjustments based on that sale. I would argue that this property is disgusting, and I certainly myself wouldn't buy a property next to it, but I'm not so sure that's inhibiting that at this point. I do believe that that's probably partly due to the fact that the county's been very reactive to it. But I just didn't want you guys to have the feeling that it's necessarily reducing the property values, because right now evidence is to the contrary. To have two sales in that neighborhood in the amount of time that we've had is kind of unusual. And like I said, one came in really low and there was junk on the premises then, and then the other one came in really high. So I guess the jury's out on that.
Thank you for your comments, Brandy. Is there anything further?
No. So I'll make a motion to accept the bid from CAM Excavating for $4,600 to clean up the Dwayne Tesh nuisance property.
I'll second.
Motion has been made by Supervisor Kiefer and seconded by Jorgensen to accept the low bid of CAM Excavating of $4,600. Further discussion? Any comments from anyone else listening on the phone line? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye, motion carried. Item 8, which is review action regarding disposition of old voice processor that is replaced with new communications tower project. Got a call last week, John Gore, Auditor Carr called me. There was a possibility that we could sell this old recorder that would no longer, processor that we'll be no longer using, and get a little money out of it. And so, what else was the details of that call? John Gore said it was priced at 500, is that correct?
Yeah, so Wes has been working with us with communications, communications technology. We've been working with our new project, and he's also been working with Freeborn County, Minnesota, with their, some of their work. And that these voice processors are not anything that would be put back as a backup or anything for our system, but could be used as backup with Freeborn County's system. And John, are you on the phone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Is there anything you wanna, has Freeborn agreed to the purchase?
Yes, Wes Webb from Comtech, you know, he approached me. They had one of their voice processors went bad and we have two of them that they pulled out of our old radio system. And they're just basically would be going to the scrap pile, and he wanted to know if we would be willing to just, sell one of them to Freeborn County. He thought we could get $500 out of it, and, that's why we came to the board to see the proper way for disposition, if we can go ahead and sell that to Freeborn. Cause those two, we have two of them, they're both unhooked, they will not be used again, and they're just looking to buy one.
All right, thank you, John. Does everybody understand the issues, when it came up, and possibility we could, sell this for this price?
Is that in our agenda packet?
I don't have anything.
Okay.
$500, right? Is that what they're offering?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the disposition of the old voice processor that was replaced with a new communication tower project for $500.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Supervisor Kiefer and seconded by Jorgensen to approve the sale of a old voice processor for $500 to
Freeborn County, Minnesota.
Freeborn County, Minnesota. Further discussion? Anyone listening on the phone like to make a comment? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye, motion carried. Next item is item 9, review action regarding Omnitel Communications invoice for 2,238 for communications tower fiber work to be paid from Brown Cook.
That's in your packet.
Yeah.
And that is, work that's been done with the new communications tower at Rockford, I believe. And so this would be an appropriate expense to use the bond proceeds. So I'm just looking for a motion if you want to spend the money that way. There should be funds to do so with the bond proceeds.
This is something that was part of the plan process?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is.
I believe so. It's with connecting the fiber out there with Omnitel.
Okay,
So, yeah. So there will be monthly fees, and I believe the discussion was the monthly fees will be paid through 911. But the startup, the setup of all of it would be paid through the project funds.
I'll make a motion regarding Omnitel Communications invoice for $2,238 for communications tower fiber work to be paid from bond proceeds.
I'll second.
Motion has been made by Supervisor Jorgensen, and seconded by Kiefer to approve an invoice for 4,000. Put my glasses on. An invoice for $2,238 for communication tower fiber work to be paid from the Brown proceeds. Any comment from anyone listening on the phone line? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Next item. Item 10, review and action regarding the 2024 Weed Commissioners Report. In your packet, you found a report from our Weed Commissioner, Tim Lobby. It states noxious weeds in the county, found but not a problem, found a problem in the county, not known if they're in the county, are the responses in the report. I don't believe Tim is here to comment on it. Tim, are you listening on the phone line?
Yeah, I'm on the phone line.
You are, very good. Would you like to comment on this report? And it's pretty self-explanatory. We're reading through it right now. But this,
Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm still trying to figure it out a little bit. Hopefully I can get a little more handle on it.
so the report states that the county spent $15,618 on purchasing herbicides. And it was necessary to serve a noxious weed notice one time. And you have contacted people individually twice, other than sending them a weed control notice. You've been employed as a commissioner for 8 months. You're also, of course, our road department superintendent. You're recommending mapping areas to follow up, spray, and mow next year. You cite the chemicals that you've used, what you use them for. And this report goes in on an annual basis. It's dated October 8th. It's sent in to the Department of Agriculture, to the State Weed Commission. Is there anything else you'd like to add about this?
Nothing I can think of.
All right. Any questions from the members of the board?
I don't have any.
All right, we need a motion to approve the weed finisher's report.
I'll make a motion to approve, the 2024 weed commissioners report.
I'll second.
Been moved by Supervisor Jorgensen, second by Kiefer, to approve the 2024 weed commissioners report. Any comment from anyone listening on the phone? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye, motion is carried. Item 11, review and action regarding adopt a highway extension request from Pete Floyd Fresh.
Yeah, this is another follow-up on the Adopt a Highway program. I think we did one maybe a month ago. But Keith Floyd Fresh would like to renew, their Adopt a Highway program on Dancer Avenue from 215th Street to 270th Street. And, I guess we thank those guys for, being interested and continuing the program. And it's, nice when groups are willing to do this, so.
Just keep Floyd fresh, is that a, based out of the city of Floyd there?
I am not 100% sure. I'm not really, this is the first I've heard of them. Their representatives got a, address in Rockford, so I don't know if it's.
Oh, well, that wouldn't be.
Yeah, so it might be maybe a county-wide group. I'm not 100% certain. No. Yeah.
Yes, it is a very good thing when we get people to volunteer to do something like this. Is there a motion to approve the adopt a highway request from Pete Floyd Fresh?
I'll make a motion to, approve adopt the highway extension request from Keith Floyd Fresh.
I will second.
A motion has been made by Supervisor Kiefer and second by Jorgensen to approve the adopt the highway extension request from Keith Floyd Fresh. Further discussion?
No.
Any comments from anyone listening on the phone line? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Motion is carried. Item 12, review action regarding an amendment to the Iowa Department of Transportation fiscal year 2025 secondary roads 5-year program.
So in this amendment, I had to make a few changes in our 5-year program. The state needed me to program the raised grant bridges that we were awarded from this summer, so there were the 7 bridge projects. Basically, we need to include those in this program, so it can be included in, they can be included in the statewide transportation infrastructure program, which allows the state to keep track of funding statewide, so especially with federal aid projects, which this would be federal, they'll all be federal aid, those 7 bridges. So I've put those into the years that we're planning on doing them, and I will just go through that really quick here. The project numbers on the left side are all the ones that start with HDP. Those are all of the raised grant ones, and then they also have a little note in the location. But the plan is to we'll start letting the raised grant projects in FY 27. We'll do Niles Bridge and the bridge on 155th, which is just around the corner from Niles. Those 2 projects will be let July of 26, so at the very beginning of FY 27 is the plan. So let those, which we're having outside design on both of those, and they've already begun that process. And then the next 2 that we will be let in the winter of 26, 27. I think we're gonna do January 27 on those. Those 2 will be one's on Walnut Ave near 230th, and the other one's on March Ave near 180th. And those 2 projects will be box culvert jobs that we'll design in-house. And so we'll let those in that winter. And then the next letting will be the Orchard Bridge, which will be, gotta make sure that's right. Yeah, we'll do Orchard in July of 27, July of 27, which is FY 28. That's the HDP Karen 111. But that project will be July of 28, and then the last letting will be, two small bridges that we'll design in-house. One's on, 230th near March, and the other one is on Old Highway Road. And those will both be let in the winter, in December of 27. So I kind of got all those laid out. We have a good schedule. It's gonna be, there'll be a lot of work going on for a couple summers. There'll be a lot of different bridges being replaced. We'll probably have a couple going at the same time. But that should be fine. We should be able to fit all that into our workload. So that'll be coming here in the next few years. The other changes I had made to the program is I had it, planned on paving T26, which is Underwood Avenue and then two miles of 155th, north of Charles City, is the T64 route. And I needed to move that project back because Niles Bridge would kind of be in construction at the same time. It's better to do the bridge first. So that way, if we do the road first, basically you're gonna end up tearing out new pavement when you put the bridge in. Because a lot of times bridges will end up having to be raised up, so that there'll be new approach pavement that will be further out to get to that grade. So I needed to move that paving project back, so we can do the bridge first. So instead of not doing a paving project, in FY 27, I flip-flopped T64 and, Packard Avenue. So we'll do Packard a little sooner than we planned, and we'll do Underwood a little, like a year after we planned. So those are the major changes, and it's all just to do with that raise grant. Unless, I don't know if you guys had any specific questions, or if that was clear, I kind of just said a lot of information all at once there, but.
The Underwood paving would go all the way to Mitchell County line.
Yes, yep, it's the 2 miles. So it's 2 miles of 155th, which is the east-west road. And then once you get to Underwood, then it's that corner, like Niles Corner up north to the county line. Yeah, it's kind of the old, the way they named the old farm to market system. And for some reason, some of the numbered routes, jog on different roads. And the way they were paved in the past, it's kind of how you're not necessarily handcuffed to pave them the same way, but it makes the most sense, because that portion of that road segment is what needs to be redone, so, yeah.
Okay.
So normally I wouldn't have pushed it out, but with that bridge, with us getting that raise grant for that bridge, it kind of changed what we were planning, basically. So, but otherwise, those were the big changes, and the planning, like Nyakog that does the planning, they needed this changed, and so did the state. So that's basically why I needed to push these through now instead of waiting until the spring. Because normally I would just wait till the spring to do the new program and do it all then. But with the federal fiscal year changing in October, they wanted to get these in, now, so.
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment to the Iowa Department of Transportation fiscal year 2025 secondary roads 5-year program.
I'll second.
A motion has been made by Supervisor Kiefer and seconded by Jorgensen to approve the amendment to the Iowa Department of Transportation fiscal year 2025 secondary roads 5-year program. Further discussion? Any comments from anyone listening on the phone line? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Motion is carried. Item 13, discussion with county engineer about secondary road activity.
You guys are. Here. Should have one for this time.
Thank you.
Yeah. So maintenance wise, we're always doing drive permits and work orders, still working through those. Drive permits will probably wind down, I would think, fairly soon here, once we start getting the weather to cool down. And I guess harvest will be done soon. The bridge crew has been actually building, shoulder on B60 for the last, I think, month. We had a big donation of soil from Top Excavating when they were doing the excavation for the hospital renovation or addition, I guess. So we've been able to use that to build shoulder there. That shoulder was really narrow on that road, so it'll improve the safety on B60, which is great. And we're paving it next year, so it's nice to build the shoulder, this year and give it a chance to settle, before we get the pavement down next year. So I think those guys are doing a nice job out there. And then the road crew has been trying to mow gravels, but our mower tractors keep going down, so the shop's have been busy with those, so we're trying to get the last round of mowing gravels done before the end of the season. Just need to keep the tractors running. And then the rest of the road crew's been doing patching. I think they got out to Timber, as far as I know, and got that cleaned up. I know they were out at Wedgewood, I think last week. So, they're catching all the different problem areas across the county right now. Camp Blade, I don't know when the last time we've actually had rain, so, hopefully we get, I mean, we're gonna need a few rainstorms so we can blade before winter. But I don't know if we'll get enough moisture, before then, so hopefully we do. And then, yeah, just the shop was just been general maintenance, and they've been spending a lot of time counting the tractors. So hopefully we can, some of it was warranty work and some of it was not, so hopefully we can, keep those running for the rest of the fall. In the office, Jake's got the pavement, we'll be doing a pavement marking project next summer. And the final turn in for those plans are next month, so they're pretty much ready to go. We made all the final changes, that the DOT asked for our preliminary plans. So we'll turn those in next month and, we'll get bids up on them, later this year, well, early 2025. Then we had turned in our B60 cold in place recycling plans, in September, and we're waiting for comments back on those, the final plans we turned in December. So that we'll get bids on that, I believe it's March of 25, and then we'll be doing construction next summer. Had some issues at T38 with the bridge approach, at near 110th. There's a long stretch of concrete on either side of the bridge, and about 1,200 foot. And, I've had not a great way to try to fund a project to, fix that. It's been an issue since I've been here, so it's been something that's been on my list. We're getting plans put together. I'm gonna try to put it in my budget this winter to do it locally. I don't know if it will fit in or not, so, we're gonna get the plans ready, have it ready to go, and if it can fit in the budget, we will try to we'll get it in the budget and get it let this winter and get it built this summer. If I can't get it in the budget this year, I'll probably look to get it into the 5-year program and get it done right away. It's a smaller project, so I had to kind of decide how we want to deal with these stretches. They were always concrete before, and I'm looking at going toward an asphalt project instead. It's a lot more cost effective. We can come in and it's called a crack and seat. Basically, you bring in on a pull behind trailer, it's a machine that'll drop hammers down and hit the concrete and break it in a uniform pattern. It doesn't really break it, cracks it. That way you can kind of control the cracking for the concrete. Then you can come back over with the asphalt and the asphalt will kind of, it's more of a flexible pavement, so it doesn't crack as much as if we just say wanted to put more concrete on it. So I think that's the route I'm planning on going in the future. There's a few different stretches like these throughout the county. So I kind of wanted to take my time and try to learn what the best solution would be. We could just pave asphalt over it too, but I think the crack and seat would give us a better chance for the base to not cause us as much problems down the road maintenance wise. So I know this is one, I've had quite a few calls about it, and I've been trying to come up with the best solution, and I think this will be a good project when we get it done. So my plan is hopefully get it in the budget this year, build it next summer. If that doesn't work, we'll get in the 5-year program and build it the following summer. So, I prefer to get it done this summer if possible.
I've also been made well aware of that stretch.
Yeah, it's not good. So I and when anyone calls, I agree with them, I know it's not in good shape, so it's, dirt patching's not gonna fix it, so it's too far gone for that, so. Yeah, and then I've been working on the FEMA documents, we're close to being done with from the flood from June. I think I have, one more, document basic, or two more documents that I need to complete, I think, and then we'll be done, and then we'll just wait to get the reimbursement, and that can take, up to, I think, 8 months to a year, I think is what it took the last time, so.
That would, that's 54, I guess.
Oh, SS4A, no, that is a different thing, I guess I'll go into next, but yeah, but the FEMA has been going pretty well, I mean, we've been getting through it fairly quick, we just started these meetings, I don't even think it's been 2 months, so this has been faster than the last time I dealt with it, so. No, we had our SS4A, which is Safe Streets for All, it's a federal program, that is grant dollars, basically for safety funds. And, a few years ago, 97 counties applied together to get a grant to get safety action plans written, by a consultant. And, it got awarded, so we're amongst the 97 counties that did it. And, we had our meeting for our safety action plan last week, where we went over with the consultant, some of the areas we could improve on safety. And, basically, the safety action plan is a tool to be able to use to apply for more Safe Streets for All grant funds, for safety projects. So, some examples are like adding paved shoulders to roads, adding edge line rumble strips, center line rumble strips, or transverse rumble strips if we don't have them in locations. Or maybe trying to redesign an intersection that is unsafe, maybe has too many legs, or, it's in a curve, some of our gravel intersections are not always the most safe. Just an old design. So they went through that with us, we had some feedback, there were a few that I had asked them to change, so we'll get some more feedback from them here, I would think in the next month. And then they will be preparing the final document, for that safety action plan. And then after that, this winter, there should be a funding opportunity that will come out, for Safe Streets for All. And I intend to try to put some sort of a project together to try to get safety funds. I haven't completely decided what I'd like to apply for yet. I think paved shoulders are really good in the higher volume roadways that we have. But I wanna be careful about putting too much pavement down, because, in the long term, we still have to maintain all of those shoulders. So we could get the safety funds, to do the initial investment of building them, but then we still need to maintain them, and then every time we go back to resurface, we have that much more pavement. So, I still wanna do some more investigating on kind of what the long-term cost would look like, and what the opportunities would be to get safety funds again, to maybe, if I need to rebuild those, in 25 years, how we fund that before we get too much investment, and then we can't afford our system to maintain, so. But I'll keep you guys in the loop on that, that'll be coming, I think in February is when the time for that will start to come around, when we'll get the notice, and then probably applications will be due in March, so we're still a few months out on that. I worked through the amendment, that we already talked about. And then we just had our normal general office work, I guess I forgot to put in here, we closed out Floyd Third Avenue, that's finally closed out, that project's all completed. And so we're done with that for the season. Construction wise, I don't think we're gonna have a lot else to go. We were maybe going to be able to get, 2 bridges replaced with railroad tank cars south of North Springs, I thought we were gonna have enough time for it. But now it's already October 21st, and we haven't started tearing those out yet. So I don't know if we will get to those or not this season, so.
What road is that?
I'm sorry.
What road is that on?
It's on 165th and, it's 2 of them. I don't know if it was Red Ball or if it's, can't remember the north-south road, but, as you come south out of North Springs, and then you jog, I can see a map. You jog to the east on 165th. But these two bridges are a mile and a half from each other, I mean, they're close. And we've had the tank car sit in the ditch, we bought them in the spring, I thought we would be able to get to them this fall. But I have them programmed for this fiscal year, so if we don't get them in the fall, we'll get them in the spring, and it's the same fiscal year, so it's not the end of the world. But I was kind of hoping to get them this fall, but, that's kind of what it's looking like right now, so we'll see. We shouldered at D60 we ended up doing a little more shouldering than we had planned, but I think it's worth our time to do the shouldering, especially because we're paving next year, so. Yeah, but I don't know if you guys had any questions for me or if anything's come up.
Hey, I don't have any for you.
Okay, well, thank you guys, sorry, I was kind of long-winded today.
And that's all right. Thank you for your report.
Yeah, I just got a few, or Gordon, do you want this, you want, so you had a copy as well, I haven't signed one yet, do we wanna sign?
Do you wanna sign them? I'll get Mark to sign them again.
Okay, perfect, do you have a blue pen, right, can't use it, I should, I always usually have a blue pen, but I forgot this time. And then Mark, I'll leave, I have, for the adopt highway, oops, I'll write this.
Yeah.
And then I have, on that safety action plan, they want the chair to sign a pledge that basically says that our overall vision is to get to zero fatalities, and that's kind of a statewide vision on our roadways, it's something that we're gonna work toward, and having these safety action plans just kind of shows that we're working toward it. So I'll just leave that work away.
Okay, very good.
Do you need a board action on it?
No, I think it's just well, I don't think so, unless you guys think so. Maybe I should bring it back for another meeting. I didn't say this in agenda, we can't do it, right? I can do it in agenda, if you guys think that's more appropriate. It's a pledge, so I don't know if, I guess to me, I didn't think it needed action, but if we are questioning it, we could just do action, then it's, then we're saying. Yeah, I'll bring that back. Okay.
Sounds fine.
Yeah, I'll leave this, document, I can sign, should finish my signature, sorry.
Oh.
Then I should be okay, so thank you, guys. All right.
Mhm.
It must need 2 copies.
You want another one?
Okay, sure.
If you want.
Yeah.
Actually, final.
Yep. All right, yeah, I'll bring that back for action.
Okay.
Yeah.
Item 14, review and action regarding Allers Cooney invoices for pipeline and ROW right of way ordinances for $370 and Summit Carbon IUB for this proceedings for $776.52. And in the package, you see these 2 different invoices. The first one for $370 is titled right of way ordinances. It really has nothing to do with the right of way ordinances. It was the conversation that we had in closed session with, Tim Whipple regarding whether we were gonna join the counties in the suit against the Iowa Utilities Commission. And so that's $370 for that conversation we had in closed session. That's what that is. The second one is for it's our share of $5,434. 7 counties, that's that 14.29% portion is $776. And that is for, as you see, the services listed, the professional services listed, preparation of that filing that occurred shortly. Can't remember the day we filed that, but it was like the 9th of September. Anyway, for those services, once we joined in with the other counties, This is the first billing for those services, to file that, against the Iowa Utilities Commission, rather than being Polk County. And so those are the two. Our share of that is $776. Yes,
There's an aged accounts receivable where we owe 3,600 and
That's the one you approved the last meeting that because of whatever was happening with our accounting side, that's been paid.
did pay. Oh, that's what I thought.
You would have had it in a past claim.
Okay, thank you.
It's just timing of that getting paid and when they invoice this September 25th.
The one for $370, so was that just an error to put right-of-way ordinances, or how did that appear on there?
that's just what I said.
Yeah, it was an error.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
It was just the discussion we had,
right,
whether or not we're gonna join in with that, yes.
okay.
But I think that probably I wish they would bill them differently than that. Because both of these, because we can't use ARPA dollars for these. They're under the same account as where ARPA dollars were spent or same. Attributed to the same as what past bills were for ARPA. So I didn't put ARPA on here because they are both for that, they can't put it charge, but if we ever do get engaged in a pipeline again, I wish they would identify these differently.
Any questions on this?
No,
No. I'll make a motion to pay the $370 to Ayers and Cooney for the pipeline ordinances and Summit Carbon IUB permit proceedings for $776.52.
second.
All right, it's been moved by Supervisor Jorgensen, second by Kiefer, to approve two invoices from Allers and Cooney, one for $370, and the other for $776.52. Any comment from anyone listening on the phone line? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye, motion is carried. All right, number 15, review and action regarding setting date and timeline for the canvass of the November 5th general election. In the packet, Auditor Carr explained some reasons why she'd like to have that. There's some considerations for the board to set the date. Auditor Carr, would you like to review those?
Yeah, so I mentioned before how because there's a holiday on Monday, November 11th. Typically, the canvass is done the Monday or Tuesday following the election. Unless the post office is closed, then it gets pushed out. So it can be Tuesday or Wednesday. And that's to allow for military and overseas, UOCAVA voters, for their ballots to be returned by noon. Typically noon the Monday after the election, but this puts it to noon on Tuesday before the election. We have about 25 or more ballots out in that format. And so in case there are changes, we have our team come in. I should say changes to results because of new ballots coming in. Our team comes in at noon on that day, the first day after the election, that's not a holiday. And so they'll be coming in at noon on Tuesday, and so we need time in case there are changes to update the count of the races. And so I just think it's, rather than to rush anything and have that canvass on Tuesday, my preference is that you would have it on Wednesday. Otherwise, it would have to be late on Tuesday.
And you're speaking of Wednesday, the 13th?
Yes.
Yeah.
So in the email that I sent with the agenda was possibly you could just have your regular meeting on Wednesday and then follow that with the canvass of the election. Rather than meeting Monday and Tuesday, you just do it in one session. Two meetings at the same time, one back to back.
we would skip, or not skip, but we would change the November 11th meeting to November 13th,
You won't have a November eleventh meeting because that's a holiday.
right?
So instead of having a meeting on the eleventh or the twelfth,
Well,
just do them both on.
makes sense to me.
I agree with that.
That's typically what's been done when it falls like that.
Does that motion need to include the regular meeting change as well?
Yeah, I think that'd be up to the chair to.
Okay,
But I don't know, what you'll have for agenda items, if you wanna have the canvas at, 10 or 10:30, it's just, if you have a short meeting, or if you have a long meeting, either way, you just can't start your canvas early, whatever time you say, so if you say 10 o'clock, and you're still in meeting at 10:30, you just pushed off the canvas until then. If your meeting's done at 9:30, you are gonna sit and wait until 10 o'clock for the
10 o'clock.
canvas. So maybe 10:30 is a good time to set the canvas. Whatever your preference is there, you just can't start it early.
I'll make a motion for setting date time of canvas for the November 5th general election for November 15th at 10 a.m. in the board of supervisors room.
15th or 13th,
I thought I said the 13th, did it?
Should
I
be
want
the
the
13th,
13th.
okay.
10 a.m.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved by Supervisor Jorgensen, and second by Kiefer to set the, hearing set the canvas for the November 5th general election on Wednesday, November 13th. Um,
10 a.m.
10 a.m. Further discussion? Those in favor of the motion say aye.
I,
Aye. Motion is carried. Item 16, future agenda items.
I have one. We do have an application for the Magistrate Appointing Commission, so if you want to entertain that. Interested in that position.
All right.
I don't have anything to add at this time.
No.
All right, item 17, motion to adjourn.
Also move.
Second.
Been moved by Supervisor Kiefer, and second by Jorgensen to adjourn. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Did you adjourn? I missed it. Did you adjourn? Dennis, did you adjourn or did Jim adjourn? I missed.
I did.
You did, okay.
Mm-hmm.